Very good afternoon, friend. On behalf of my organization CMS Vatavaran, I'm Sabyasachi Vati, and I welcome you all. Uh, as you know, that we are organizing a virtual festival which focuses on biodiversity, climate change, and environmental issue. And the aim of the festival is to inspire and encourage everyone to take action, even during the COVID-19 pandemic. So this celebrate the program celebrating biodiversity lockdown 2.2 special online festival uh, will be there till 8th of June, where we will be doing a lot of programs. We had done panel discussions. Every day we are screening few very award winning national and international environmental and biodiversity film for you, and every day in the evening we are talking to some of the most prominent green filmmakers of our time. So as you know that today also we are going to talk to a very prominent green filmmaker of a country. His name is Anoop Khajuria. So namaskar Anoopji, how are you?
I'm very fine. Thank you, Sabir. Thank you.
Welcome to the live question and answer session. Uh, but before I start, talking to you, let me have the privilege to introduce you. So, friends, you know that Anoop Khajuria is an Indian television broadcast journalist and filmmaker. He is best known for directing the documentary film Whispers of Warming, which won the prestigious Golden Beaver Award in 8th National Science Film Festival held in 2018. It also won a Best Film Award Asia Pacific Broadcast Union 2016 at Krabi, Thailand. Uh, this film was also a part of CMS Vatavaran International Film Festival. uh, Anoop ji belongs from Jammu. He has did his schooling from SD Savai Higher Secondary School, Jammu, and completed his degree in biosciences and graduated from Government Gandhi Memorial Science College, Jammu. His, he further did his masters in botany with a specialization in ecology from University of Jammu, and he has been in broadcast media for over 3 decades now. Throughout his illustrious career, he has served as a producer, writer, and reporter on television. He is currently a senior producer at Doordarshan India. Anoop ji has been creating and addressing shows on climate change since 2010. As you know, that in 2018 he directed and produced a documentary film called Whispers of Warming, which focuses on climate change frightening the livelihood of Himalayan inhabitants. He won, as I mentioned you, he won numerous awards, national and international awards for this film. In 2019, he won the Golden Beaver Award again for his second time for his documentary, The Golden Thread, in the National Science Film Festival. And this film is based on destruction caused of maggots due to climate change. He also won the IHCAP CMS Vatavaran Award for his work in CMS Vatavaran International Film Festival in 2019, friends. So, uh, we, Anoopji, your background is environment science, and then you decided to come into the field of film and media. So why so? How it happened? Because uh, you are from a science background, and then you decided to make films. So what was the reason behind it?
Well, thank you for asking me this question, Sabir Sachi Bharati. Thank you very much for inviting me for this conversation. That's a very good question. I mean, you did ask me. When I did my masters in botany, that opened up a plethora of the vivid biodiversity since I
Mhm,
was at Jammu, as
mhm,
you rightly mentioned. So Jammu is at the foothills of Himalayas, and I used to see the kind of wildflowers, the wild animals, the insects were and whatnot. And I was very keen on that. And when
mhm,
I got a chance to do my masters,
mhm,
let me tell you, I was not a I was so keen on the observing things that I was
mhm,
not very bright on the text. Like you
mhm,
see, the people writing about this thing, but I was a good observer. So I really thought, like in Jammu, I used to go to the radio. Radio station was very near to my home, and
Mhm.
that was my first step towards acquainting myself towards the broadcasting. And many of my friends at that point of a time, they were doing
Mhm.
their thesis, like an MSc. We used to do
Mhm.
one dissertation. So
Okay.
they used to click the photos from the camera, and I was a little sharp. I was a little sharp in focusing the things and putting right kind of a lenses. And
Mhm.
wow, when we saw through the lenses that the vibrancy of the colors, which you will not get anywhere. You see
Mhm.
the daffodils, you see the pansies, you see the kind of wild flowers which you will have. Like you see the banafsha. Banafsha is the one which is very very prevalent over there. And then I thought maybe I should take some kind of a field where I
Mhm.
could I could capture these colors, these shapes, these unique kind of combination of to the other people. And what would have been the better thing rather trying to join television? But unfortunately, what happened? I got radio in my stream. In those days,
Okay.
in 88, in 88, it was through the UPSC. So once you qualify the this broadcasting service, and then you were given the cadre. Either you can be given radio or you can be given television. I wanted to
Television.
go to TV, but I was put in
Mhm.
the radio. So
Okay.
that was a big struggle for 2 3 years. Then I came to television and learned the art of television production. Before that, I was lecturer of botany, and I
Okay.
was there at LOC Rajouri, where I could
Mhm.
see, yeah, look, here is a Pakistan, here is in India. There is a lot of war going on over there, but actually the biodiversity is the same.
Okay.
Like there also, people, the Gujar community would talk because they will go to the dokes. Dokes are the meadows in the mountains. So they
Mhm.
will go to the dokes and they would talk to me. Many of my students were from the Gujar community, and they
Mhm.
would tell me that sir, look, when we go to the dog last time, there were a lot of jadi booties, there were a lot of those things, but no, we didn't get that. It
Mhm.
has vanished somewhere. So look, I'm talking about 1988. So there I saw an opportunity. Why not to take the field of journalism, take the
Mhm.
field of a television producer or a filmmaker, where
Mhm.
actually you can show. Initially, I just wanted to show the people, but
Mhm.
at that point, I didn't know it would be so hard, it would be so difficult because in a government, government, whatever the government wants, you need to do that, and you can't, have your
Yeah,
own.
people who are outside of this film fraternity, they think that it's very easy to make a film. You take camera, shoot here, mix, हो गया, क्या करना है? But yeah, सचमुच, it's a very different kind of grammar. A grammar is there, a mathematics of putting lights, cameras, and all these things. Yeah, so it's not that easy as people think. Sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah. No, so initially what I did, using the platform of Doordarshan, so I had small programs like,
Mhm.
I would go to the biodiversity park and then tell the people as a correspondent, look, I'm a, like, even now we don't have the ecological correspondent or so the climate change correspondents are, see,
Mhm.
that, but in one of my programs, which used to be the talk show, I would
Mhm.
I would just act as a correspondent and go to the Himalayan park, bring
Mhm.
certain things over there, and go to the Uttarakhand and
Mhm.
bring on stories on that, and then I used to telecast that. Apart from that, there was one more program, smaller program, ecosystem, like
Mhm.
that's also ecological, small stories. But again, I'm talking, it's very very difficult because what your employer needs, that becomes the more paramount, and it's
Mhm.
not your wish. And moreover, what happens in our case, in our the things, they percolate down from top to bottom. Like,
Okay.
say for example, even if I'm a producer, but
Mhm.
then whatever comes from the top, that I will have to carry out. May that be
Yeah.
something like a political, doing a political beat, or doing something like that. But
Mhm.
then I have to fight. I have to fight. Really, I have to fight. Like you mentioned the year 2010. maybe,
Yeah.
I started thinking about maybe from 2005 or 2004 that no,
Mm-hmm.
look, I have to make full-fledged films, the
Mm-hmm.
films which have the shelf value and which are, remains relevant. What could be the subject? Climate change
Uh,
was very. Mhm.
Anoop ji, we all know about two of your films a lot,
Mhm.
which today we are screening on our social media platforms, Whispers of Warming and The Golden Thread. But Whispers of Warming is your first long documentary, feature-length documentary, or when you started making documentary, what was your first documentary? And
My first, yeah, my first documentary was, the full length documentary was on the British water supply system of Shimla catchment area.
wow,
Uh, yeah. I'm talking about ecology. Otherwise, my first documentary way back in 1996 was on the communication system of India, like the BSNL and other MTNL or
hmm,
other, because those were the changing times. So I'm only focusing on the ecological water and those kind of subjects. So my first documentary was on the Shimla catchment water supply system, which was uh, by Britishers, and it was amazing that how they took land on the patas where the springs were there, and then they made connections of different springs lying in different villages at that point of time, and then they did forestry. They grew oak trees because oak trees are known for water retention. They bring the water down to their roots, and then they become the part of the spring system. So I think that was the one documentary which I did in the year 2003 or 4. That was very satisfying to me, and this was,
okay.
I did a series of Swachh Bharat. I mean, in those times it was not Swachh Bharat. It was
Hmm.
uh, it was it was some Bharat, but then I did some 100 episodes on that, and within those
Okay.
100 episodes, I brought in small programs of 15 minutes,
Hmm.
focusing on water,
Hmm.
sanitation, and like what we call is defecation outside. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So those were the issues where and then water become my very very passionate subject. But
So,
then I
yeah. So, as you were saying that from early days, your inclination was towards environment. The
yes.
subject you had chosen was related to environment and biodiversity conservation. So, if someone who wants to be a natural history filmmaker in India, or in simple language, a green filmmaker, environmental filmmaker, uh, so through your thought process, I want to understand how you, what the person who want to be a green filmmaker should do. uh, can you tell us where he can go for study, or we were talking to so many filmmakers like Akanksha Sood Singh or Akanksha Joshi and Saurabh Sarangi, and most of them were saying that yes, look, when it comes about technical knowledge, yes, certainly you need to go to some colleges, schools where you can understand the traits and the techniques of editing and sound, but for making a film, for being a director, you don't need to go to any school. It's better to work with someone to understand the concept of filmmaking, because filmmaking is also art. Science is there, but art is also there. So science you go to school, but for art it comes within. It is a thought process. So, what is your thought process, and what you will suggest if someone want to be a filmmaker, natural history filmmaker, or environment filmmaker in India?
Sabe, I would agree with you, yes, and I will also disagree with you
Mhm,
on 2 points. So, first
mhm,
of all, I
ah,
don't think that making a green film, we need a kind of a school education or maybe sort of a training. In
mhm,
horror film, we have a shot. The shot is when we open the camera and we stop the camera, and in between, whatever the images we capture is a shot. And
okay.
we have got three kind of a shots. That we
Mhm,
have got long shot, mid shot, and close up. those three shots, this is the gambit of these three shots that we try to play on.
Mhm.
And now, when we have the technology in our hand, and films are not that nitty gritty of Kagas ke Phool when Guru Dutt ji would those black and white era, Satyajit era. No, it's only the observation and the phone in your hand, or maybe a
Mhm.
gimbal of 5,000 rupees which you have with you, and
Mhm.
just download a software, go to the
Mhm.
YouTube, put it in there. My tutorials, like you have some software which is available free of cost, which is
Mhm.
in the public domain, and
Mhm.
go to the tutorial and learn how to connect a long shot with the mid long shot or with the close up.
Mhm.
But most important thing is the observation and something that goes in your mind. जिसको बोलते हैं ना
Mhm.
आटा गूंथना, to
हाँ.
make a that is very important. That is your research. First of all,
Mhm.
anything on the subject we are making, that should you know make you some give you some kick,
Mhm.
something. And number second, you must have a good team. It's not the
Mhm.
I really it's not the director alone.
Okay.
Director cannot take the whole credit of a film. No, not
Yes,
at all.
certainly. No, not
Not
at
at
all.
all.
Yes.
The film is like it's a novel.
Mhm.
It's a article. It's something which is with the text. I agree. That is the nitty gritty of your imagination, and then you can write it on. But making a film is essentially a teamwork, and your every team member should be involved into it. And
Mhm.
director becomes some sort of a coordinator. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. But nevertheless, initially it's a director only, and the environmental stories are strewn around us. There are so many. There are so many.
Mhm.
I wish that every day I should have a camera, and by the evening I should have if allowed, I should have a story to
Mhm.
broadcast
Mhm.
on my DD News channel. It should
Mhm.
be on the environment, because now we need to talk about that vigorously
Yeah.
in this corona time. We talk.
Mhm.
So for the newcomer, I would suggest that
Mhm.
observation number one, the research
Mhm.
why very easy. See, look, this is the notebook which I have got. So this notebook and a pen, you just have to
Mhm.
make a point. For example,
Mhm.
very quickly, I can talk about a very difficult, like open defecation. I was like ODF. I was talking about that when the
Mhm.
India was so plagued with that. With it. No, no, you have to make a story, and that's very difficult subject. No, what we will
Mhm.
do? So people would say, okay, we have to show the people who are defecating in the open. No, that's not the thing.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
actually, you can bring in the emotions that how somebody's family sister went over there in the open defecation, and maybe besides the track and the the train came and that accident happened, and then what happened? The family was in turmoil and this thing. So maybe there was a criminal incident happened over there, and then you can actually bring the subject into the focus.
Mhm.
Similarly, it's not only the Himalayas which calling for this conservation or something.
Mhm.
Even your ponds, your stream, maybe
Mhm.
in your village. If anybody would like to any deteriorating water bodies over there, one can make
Mhm.
a small film of 2 or 3 minutes and
Mhm.
put it in the community television, which is with the
Mhm.
panchayat her. You can have,
Mhm.
and you can have that kind of an impact. And I
Mhm.
think this is the time for the the budding filmmakers who can really bring on the subject for the discussion. Like you see the
Mhm.
WhatsApp, you put small 2 3 shots of a particular thing which is happening, and immediately the administration would get alerted. Something would happen because it's in the WhatsApp. It's being
Mhm.
circulated. It's in the social media. Maybe the
Mhm.
DM of that area would take the the notice of that. So
Mhm.
so I think the film now is really connecting the policymaker and the grassroots citizen. So the importance of filmmaking has, I think, the green filmmaking has never been so important as it is
Mhm.
now.
Okay. So during the conversation, you were talking about the research thing, which is very important to make any film, whether it's environment film or science film or any other film. Research is utmost important. So let us talk about your most talked film, Whispers of Warming. So how you think of the film first, and what was the like how much time you devoted to research, because you had traveled across Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh and all these very difficult terrain. You went there on such a great height. So how you manage the research, and then what during the production, and how you had handled the production?
Yeah, actually, before that, there was something which is, percolating within me, within my subconscious, that I have to do something on Himalayas, because
Mhm,
I was studying about the Himalayas, and there
mhm,
was not much research on that. I tell you, there was
mhm,
not many people who have written theses on the Himalaya. Only one thing which was so prevalent, that was the retreating glaciers,
mhm,
because of the climate change. But climate change, when I understood what is the, in those days, I
mhm,
started thinking about this film in 2012. That's something I have to
mhm,
do on the Himalayas, but I really didn't know what do I need to
mhm,
do.
mhm,
I was thinking Himalaya and a linguistic
mhm,
point of view, so many languages are there. Then I was thinking Himalayas as different ethnic groups, and
mhm,
people sliding over there,
mhm,
and ultimately what happened, that
mhm.
I was also thinking in terms of the biodiversity, and
Okay.
there are countries like, you see, the Bhutan, Nepal, all the Himalayan countries which are subjected with the same kind of challenges and problems over there, and but I didn't know what exactly is happening over there. So,
Mhm,
first of all, my pen, my diaries, and my small notes. I was
mhm.
reading about, like I tell you, doing something came first in my 2012, and then I was working on it, and I didn't know what to do. What should I do?
Okay. Okay.
Uh, and there were certain things which I have been hearing about. Landslides over slides are over there. Their flooding is happening. Then there is an extreme kind of
Mhm,
winter, and then
mhm,
summers were happening. And then
mhm,
ultimately, I was narrowing down to something which contains everything of this, because
okay.
I could not have concentrated on one subject, because
Mhm,
climate change was a very vast kind of impact giving phenomenon, which was
mhm,
not only affecting the lives of the people, the
mhm,
geography, the mountains, the other things. And then it stuck to me, why not I make something which is based on the perception of the people, how how they are perceiving the climate change. They
mhm,
don't know what
mhm,
is the Paris Agreement. They don't know what
mhm.
happened in Doha. They don't know.
Yeah.
This is a part. That's the the policy making politics are between the countries. But what exactly is happening to the person per se?
Mhm,
How he is perceiving the climate change.
mhm,
When I went to the Uttarakhand, and
mhm,
I was there was Uttarakhand was not a kind of a, because most of the people were serving in Indian Army, or they were doing something. खेती बाड़ी नहीं हो रही थी, agriculture was not happening, and I
okay.
was towards the agriculture, that
Mhm,
what changes are happening on the agriculture front.
okay.
Now, as a war correspondent, I was to this area, the Western Himalayan area of Ladakh, Kargil, and Kashmir. I was there as a war correspondent in 1999. So
Okay.
I was reporting for Doordarshan, and
During the Kargil war.
during the Kargil, I was working. So
Okay.
I knew this area very well, and I had certain connections during those times, and
Mhm,
I re-established those contacts, and then
mhm,
I was asking, भाई बहुत हो गया, 10 years हो गए, 9 अभी क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे,
mhm,
the small information they started
mhm,
coming in, and I wanted to go for the recce, but recce
mhm,
was so expensive. If you remember,
mhm.
during those days, even going to Leh was around 20,000 for one seat.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it
Still,
somehow,
still, still, rest of
still
India,
very
when
expensive.
you see the Ladakh flights, so they are still very costly.
Yeah, I didn't have the resources, though I was doing for the government, but it was very difficult to convince my bosses that I wanted to do
Mhm,
something. And climate change, and why climate change, why don't we do something, in government? What happens is, why don't we do something, the policy of the government, the present day policies, we need to highlight that, and that is the
mhm,
only. I just tell you, this is also the policy of the government. If we didn't make people aware about the climate change by this
Mhm.
way, the rest of the country, then we the people of India will not get its real meanings. So
Mhm.
we should start anyway. The Asia, this the ABU and AIDB, they came to my rescue because I gave them that idea. Idea, why
Mhm.
don't you do something? Because that could have been given some impetus to my working also. So
Mhm.
they really buy an idea. They said, okay, we will do a regional workshop over there. I
Mhm.
just said, hey, initially I wanted to make a international kind of a film where we transgress these borders and we go to the Bhutan, we go to the Nepal, we go to the Pakistan, and we actually connect people on the perceptions on climate change. But then they did a regional workshop, and I'm also proudly a part of that. And that gave me a legitimate kind of a thing to tell my bosses, look, now these people they have come all the way from the Bhutan, Malaysia, and other things, and I am also one of them, and you please support me in doing. But somehow that dream of mine to do the trans-border kind of a thing didn't succeed. But then, I didn't waste time. I had a very meager budget, very meager budget. Initially, I was just a 1.5 lakh rupees with me. One and a
Okay.
half lakh rupees.
Mhm.
1.5 lakh rupees to, this was the kind of a target which it didn't deter me. It didn't deter me. I said, no, I will do. And then because I knew the team is important, so we have got, our senior members. I remember the very first of all, my one of the senior member, Ashok Raina, where we used to sit over there and then we will dream about making films, a kind of a film on Himalayas and go to the high altitude or maybe the oceans or into the deep water, looking for what has bleaching, the effect of the bleaching and everything. So he encouraged me. He said, "Good idea." And in the meanwhile, you see what was happening. I was making these small documentaries on this Nirmal Bharat. There was the Nirmal Bharat, and on
Nirmal Bharat.
Nirmal Bharat, I was looking one, two, three documentaries which I made was on the different municipalities. That how the municipalities are working. Say, for example,
Mhm.
in those days, Gwalior municipality was working very good in
Mhm.
collecting the garbage and processing it. And at that same time, Surat was very good. And
Mhm.
Delhi was worst. The UP part was worst. They were just fighting all the politicians, the municipality. So I made one film on that. And the cameraman of that film, Gopal Rao, I remember. Gopal Rao, mostly, when you wanted to go out, the people they think, the crew thinks it's a picnic. You know, it's picnic. And then they are going, they will have a good meal, and then they will shoot and they will come back. But when we have, I was very rigorous. It was very hot in Gwalior, and I wanted to shoot early in the morning till night. It was really. And then
Mhm.
by the end of this, cameraman is saying to me, "Thank you,
Mhm.
sir. Thank you very much. I
Mhm.
always wanted to do these kind of films." So naturally, I got a companion. I said, "Wow, wow." So
So,
Gopal,
so again, sir, coming back to the whispers of warming. So, was making the film a easy one or a difficult task? What was your experience?
it was very difficult. It was very difficult in the sense that because we were going the deeper parts, like going to
Mhm.
the glacier is not an easy kind of
Mhm.
a thing. So we were looking some glaciers which are on the roadside and which we could get. So I mean Zanskar, this area came to my rescue, and then you see that the NDMA kind of a story which comes over there, the
Mhm.
landslide, that
Yes,
how
yes, yes.
that was really very difficult.
It was a much talked news that time.
much talk news at that time, and and going over there because once I listened, and that was my trigger to to initially start it immediately so that we could lay hands on the footage, we can have interviews, and we could that was very difficult, but because of certain reasons nobody we met the people over there, sir, but though nobody was speaking. But thank
Mhm.
God, with the help of the NDMA, then we were able to bring those kind of a visuals to the rest of the world, that how a big you know a behemoth kind of a mountain which struts to the river and blocks it, and how it becomes a bombshell. And then
Mhm.
we it was also very difficult because once you reach a place, getting the story is like in Whispers of Warming, you see that the grass, the story, because the grass is vanishing, because there is no water, and
Yes.
the cycle of the grass seed is not getting completed, not getting completed. And sometimes, I think the forces of the nature also helps you. the fourth.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was at this village, and I was shooting, and I
Mm-hmm.
immediately noticed that that lady with the big bundle of that grass is coming, and then we rushed and we start shooting from the front, from the back, and this thing. And I never expected, because the
Yeah.
people told me, look, the people had gone to bring the grass, but you have to fix the timings. So maybe early in the morning. There was no place to stay over there. No place to stay over there. Either we have to come back to the Kargil, or maybe we go to the Zanskar. So
Mm-hmm.
immediately, what I saw, this lady coming with the big bundle of that grass, and then we were shooting, and then we were just following her. She went on
Okay.
the rooftop, and then she was depositing that grass, and whoa, the story was there. We were looking for the links, and then that lady made the story, the vanishing grass, the vanishing, the diversity, the
Mm-hmm.
vanishing plantation that climate
Great.
change was bringing.
Great.
So the story
Great.
was. So sometimes the God helps you, and sometimes maybe the other, like it was very difficult because of that last the ice stupa. That
Mm-hmm.
ice stupa, I have to wait. I have to wait for the winters to come, and then
Mm-hmm.
another 1 year went by. Then we reached over there. Then we were waiting for the stupa to become a stupa so that we
So
can
how
shoot
much
properly.
time does it take you to complete the movie from scratch to
Uh,
final?
Actually, in 2014, I was very very clear about, because the Kedarnath had happened already,
Mm-hmm.
and the forces of nature was very very obvious, and
Mm-hmm.
Himalayas were in some kind of a danger. It was happening in Uttarakhand, and
Mm-hmm.
since Uttarakhand was exposed to the media already, they knew the Ganga basin, how adversary it can bring on, कितनी तबाही ला सकती है, वो सब था. तो मैं इस तरफ देखना चाहता था. 2014 में मैं तैयार था, मेरे आउटलाइंस मेरे तैयार थे. 15 में मैंने क्या किया, 14 का विंटर शूट किया,
Mm-hmm.
और 15 का मैंने स्प्रिंग शूट किया.
Mm-hmm.
है ना, मतलब स्प्रिंग आपने देखा होगा, मैच मैच विजुअल्स लगाए, वो सेम एंगल पे हमने जाकर के वो काम किया. द्रास में हमने काम किया, दैट हाउ द्रास लुक्स इन द समर, एंड हाउ इट लुक्स द सेकंड कोल्डेस्ट inhabitable place in the world.
So it took you 2 to 3 years to complete the documentary.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And uh, when you were sending it to the Asia Pacific Broadcasting
Yeah.
Festival, so will you were having an idea that you can one like this film can be the best film it can win? How
Yeah.
was it? Like it was a
So
surprise, or
I
or
had a
you?
lot of difficulty in between. I tell you, I got my
Mm,
transfer to Mathura. I was out of
uh-huh,
Delhi, and
okay.
maybe sometimes what happens, the other people, I want that everybody should do, but if you bring in some good visuals, then maybe it could become the heartburn for somebody
Mm,
else, and then the whole thing. This also, see, making a film by the independent maker is entirely a different thing. But when you are in an organization, and then you try these kind of the
mm,
new formats and other things, it really becomes very very difficult. And my editing became very difficult, very difficult.
okay.
And
Mm,
then I have to go up to my CO. He was
mhm.
very kind. I explained things to him. I have to explain to my ABU friends over there, and maybe the world over. Film was not made, but many people were talking about that, because what I did, I sent some rushes to them. Look,
Mhm.
this is happening to the Western Himalayas, and then somehow the film was ready. But to me, I was really not very satisfied about that film, because basically I made it a travelogue. It was a travelogue. But
Mhm.
then again, what you mentioned, that film is also an art, in spite of the information, that how you treat it, that how
Yeah.
you see. I brought in this film, I have brought in the different linguistic groups, the racial groups. I'm talking about the Aryans, which are much talked about ethnic group in the Himalayas besides the Sindh. I brought Shina people, who are basically a lineage of Persian. I
Mhm.
brought the Tibetans over
Mhm.
there. What we see in
Mhm.
the Zanskar Valley are the Tibetans, and
Mhm.
I brought in the Kashmiris over there. So
Mhm.
basically, this was a meeting point of different civilizations and linguistic groups over there. So the
Mhm.
film gets a little USP in that. Not
Mhm.
only this, we were using the techniques of the filmmaking, like when we are showing the Aryan village. So
Mhm.
we had a long zoom in, long
Mhm.
zoom. I mean, this is really forbidden in the filmmaking, that we will not have a long zoom ins or zoom outs. So we go for the steady shots. We try to bring in as much as information into the shots. But that was a very purposeful, because we wanted to show the people, look, this is the scene, this is the topography of the mountains over there, and look, here is a hidden village in the patch of green. So this is how the, and then we went to reveal the stories of that and the textures of the mountain. In the whole film, you will see that as if the Himalayan mountains are the living entities. They are different hues. They are different colors. They are different shapes, and that really makes Himalaya really something which is not only a behemoth, but it has got its own emotions, its characters. I think we somehow we succeeded in bringing in those kind of elements.
So, Anoopji, from the heights of Himalaya, you traveled all across to the northeast of India, from Kashmir to Assam, and this Moga silk. So, how this Moga silk idea came to you, like, and then how it happened?
Like no, there was, I wanted to do many things in between, because again, they're the foothills of the Himalayas, and
Mhm.
like again, it struck to me that climate change is
Mhm.
the subject, and to
Mhm.
my team also.
Mhm.
I will give a lot of credit to my team, because we were
Mhm.
meeting over a cup of tea and other things, and they said, यार कुछ करो, अब ये तो हमने कर दिया, अब इसके
Mhm.
अलावा हमें कुछ और भी करना है, क्या करें हम? So
Mhm.
I wanted to do something which is very unique and which is
Mhm.
not known to the world. So
Mhm.
that becomes the case study. In
Okay.
the first case, like the climate change was there, and
Mhm.
we touched upon the obvious things: the vanishing
Mhm.
of species,
Mhm.
the drying of lakes, the no
Mhm.
snowfall, the retreating glaciers, and the
Mhm.
innovation coming. I mean, the necessity is the mother of invention, and then ice to is coming. Then how even the climate change was associated with the negative things, but we
Mhm.
bring in the positive thing, that how communities are getting benefited out of
Mhm.
climate change, and that how
Yeah.
Koreans are reaping a big harvest over there.
Mhm.
Uh, anyway, so we wanted to do something which is very unique and which becomes a case study for the others, because there was
Mhm.
no talk about this, and
Mhm.
Muga was being promoted by
Mhm.
the government as a USP for the state, for the country per se,
Mhm.
because you
Mhm.
must have seen a lot of hoardings over there.
Mhm.
I went for an LTC,
Mhm.
the leave travel concession which the government people they get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went with my family to the River Island
Mm.
in Assam,
Majuli.
Majoli. I went to the Majoli. So we wanted to go to the Majoli, and Majoli was quite a nice place. And I didn't know about Moga at all. I think I really didn't know about Moga, but I had something in my mind, because I knew about Mulberry, I knew about Tassar, because Mulberry is in Kashmir. So Tassar I knew, but Muga was very alien to me.
Mhm.
So I had only seen the hoardings in Delhi, like come to the Assam, the Muga beckoning you and stuff like this. ITO, you might have seen any.
Yeah.
There was this what you called a sericulture or Muga culture. It was a small state office in Majoli. So I just went inside, and the person, he didn't know the Hindi very well, neither English, but he was speaking in Assamese. And I was just asking him, "Yeah, what is your about work and this thing?" Like the journalists have those questions. And then one sentence he said, you see, we don't know what is happening over there, and we are we are rearing, we are what exact is we are seeding for 5,000 cocoons, it comes out to be 100. This is what I understood. And then I immediately went to my hotel where we are staying. I said, what he's talking about? What are these cocoons? Because I had this idea that it is being reared on an open tree, but the mulberry is in controlled environment, and so is the tussar. Maybe mostly the tussar is not in the open, but in the rooms, or in the little controlled confinement.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I had an idea. So I
Mhm.
had an idea. Look, this is the unique thing which I can do, and my
Mhm.
research started. My research
Okay.
started over this, but nobody was ready to talk about this. Nobody
Mhm.
was ready to, except for some researchers, which they say, yes, it is happening. It is happening. The life cycle of the Muga silkworm is getting
Mhm.
interrupted in
Mhm.
the 2 or 3 star, and they
Mhm.
are getting died because of the temperature. And here was the
Mhm.
story which now I wanted to do. And
Mhm.
immediately I remember it took me, like I went over there maybe in the month of, yeah. I mean, this film became, it took no longer to me. And when I met the people, I talked to the people, the story was before me. And then with the Gopal Rao and, our senior colleague, Mr. Ashok Rana, we were all sitting together. And, we were talking about that. And once they said, go ahead, okay, yeah, this is something which you can go. And I remember, I remember my wife was so, I said, my reluctant, why you are going over there with the attaching case? And because this time the Raki was there. The Assam I found very unique because there I could find that Brahmaputra is a dividing line between rich and poor. The Lakhimpur side, or the Lakhimpur side was, the mostly across the Brahmaputra, they were rearing this muga. The most of the the cultivators are there, and this Jorhat and this, they are very rich people. The most traders are there, and they are not at all. But the Central Silk Institute is there in Jorhat, near Jorhat. So when I came back to Delhi, so these people, the Central Silk people who were in Delhi, I went over there repeatedly, and then since they were the result, that we were very much right. It is happening, but nobody is ready to talk about that.
Mhm.
So this was my. I said I will talk about that, and then the rest is this thing. But then how to bring in like Dakua Khana. When I went to the Dakua Khana, I have shot over there because Dakua Khana, I didn't prefer to go by the road because in those days there was no bridge from Shivsagar, and we have to go cross from Jorahat and then take a 250 kilometers long to come to the. So I preferred the boat. I went by boat, but I didn't realize that by 4 o'clock the sun would set. So when I reached the Dabuakhana across the road, and what I could see, it's a pitch dark, and I was told that the last bus for the Lakhimpur has already left by 2 o'clock. So it was a 5 o'clock, and I could see the lamps all around and people as they had, because it's a very very backward area. So I could know the difficulty of the people. I said, look here, this is such a economically backward area, and above that, when the livelihood is under threat,
Mhm.
like the Muga is a livelihood to so many people, so many families over there. That time I was told that this is around between 75 to 1 lakh families which are rearing this Muga. And you just imagine when this livelihood is under threat, what will happen to them. And when I was seeing Dabua Khana, so my belief in myself that I have to make this film, that becomes very very strong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a really a wonderful film. So, friend, these two films which we are talking about, uh, The Golden Thread and The Whispers of Warming, you must see. It's a must-watch film, and we are screening it today. It will be there till tomorrow, 10 or 11 o'clock. So please go to our social media page and YouTube channel, and please watch these films. So, the Anoopji, I wanted to talk to you. There are so many questions we still left, but I'm extremely sorry that the time is not permitting. I had only 2 minutes in my hand. So, before closing the session, I want to, uh, uh, if you have to give a message to the new filmmakers, to the student filmmakers who want to come to the film, because the documentary or the film itself is a very glamorous word, and people think that it's a very glamorous and very shining uh, thing, and everyone want to become a filmmaker, but they don't. It's very difficult to let them see how much pressure is there and how much difficulty it's there to make a film. So what do you want to give a message to these new filmmakers, the film aspirants who wanted to become natural history filmmakers in India?
one thing is passion. Passion. You must have a passion for the subject which you are doing. You should believe in that. You should believe
mm,
in that and believe in yourself that you can do it.
mm.
That is the one thing. And for, yeah,
Mm,
if you don't have a passion, you will not, and you will end in a very disarray and everything. This passion,
mm,
and you should be willing to work hard and work in, unhospitable areas, in,
mhm,
in whatever kind of a thing. Maybe, you may not get a time to sleep for 2 nights, but
mhm.
I think the passion, that's my one thing. If you have a passion, you will succeed.
So,
That's my.
friends, if you have a passion, you will succeed, and you have a passion to make, films. If you have a passion to tell stories to the people in a very different mindset, then yeah, certainly you are most welcome to come and make interesting stories which are all around you. You don't have to search anyone. So it was really nice talking to you, Anoop Khajuria ji. Thank you once again for coming and joining the question and answer session, this live session. Uh, Thank you once again for becoming part of the program. Thank you,
Sabyasachi
sir.
Bharti, I also thank you for giving me this opportunity. Like you are such a lovely personality that I wanted to talk and talk, and now I realize that I should have kept my answers very, you know, comprehensive, so that maybe I hope that the young filmmakers
Yeah,
into this
we
might
will,
have.
we will, we will try to have another session with you soon. We will discuss and we will find ideas so that we can talk about on other nitty gritty of the filmmaking itself.
Of course, and we
Thank you.
will pray that this Corona era should end, so that
Yes,
all the new filmmakers, they should go out freely and
yes,
bring out as much as stories, not only on the climate change, but on the other vivid, vibrant, I would say, the world of this whole biodiversity.
yeah. Thank you very much. So, friend, this was two-time National Science Film Award-winning filmmaker Anoop Khajuria talking with us. And as you know that till 8th of June, we will be screening wonderful environmental film daily on our Facebook and YouTube channel. And we will have live Q&A session online every day at the 5 p.m. So please do join us tomorrow with a very beautiful and very, fearless filmmaker and very good friend of mine, Brigade. She is from Switzerland and she will be joining us from there and she will be talking about her journey. So please do join us tomorrow at the same time. And before closing the session, I must want to express my gratitude uh, to the High Commission of Canada in India and lead the Green Change campaign of delegation of European Union to India for their support and for becoming our program partner. Uh, so we hope to see you tomorrow here. Have a great good night.